Okay, so I am back, and I believe that this thing's working now. I think it is. Hang on, let me just double check because it'll be super weird if I'm talking about sounds and you guys can't hear any of it. Um, 1 second. Reload. Okay, so I can't see chat, but I'm pretty sure this thing's working. So we're gonna go. We're just gonna go. Either way, I'm recording it, so it's going through the recording. So anyway, I'm back. Sorry for that. That was pretty annoying. Now that Logic's working, uh, I'm gonna do the better option of editing the sound and throw it in the Logic now. So what I'm gonna do? Got my lawnmower. Uh, Throw this bad boy in here. We're gonna change the please. Oh my gosh, I vomited again. That is so annoying. Let me just make sure. Yeah, they vomited again. Alright, well. Give me a sec. I'm going to. Yeah, it just crashed again. Alright, so this is what we're going to do. We're gonna do this at another time, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to talk about sound design some more. Because that seems to be the only thing that wants to work. So give me 1 second. Let me see if I can at least see what I want to see on this thing. Alright, well, it's whatever. Anyway, so back to sound design. Something. Let's talk about what I would have done. Let's do that. You know what I can do? I could show you what I was going to do. I know you can't hear it. So I won't play it. I'll just show you. Let's go over some of the basic things. Let's go over the tools that sound designers use to manipulate sounds to make them the way they want it. So that's what I was gonna do, and you're gonna be like, oh wow, like this is so cool, and I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Look at this, I can make this thing into a propeller plane, and be like, but now it doesn't matter. So we're not gonna do that now. Yeah, it's not working. Anyway, so this is what we're gonna do. So one of, if not the best tool a sound designer has, is something called equalization. Equalization is literally so no matter what, every sound in our universe has frequencies, Okay, and these frequencies, uh, span. It's not so like the lawnmower sound. Is multiple frequencies put together, resonating to make this sound. All right, so and what an EQ does is it allows me to see what frequencies the lawnmower. So right here. So if I play it, you could see it. Yeah. So this is my lawnmower. This is the sound. What the frequencies do is what an EQ does is it allows you to cut or boost certain frequencies, so you're able to sculpt the sound more. It's not. I wish you could hear it, but you can't. Um, it's it could be pretty extreme. But most time it's you want to be pretty tame with it. So this is my lawnmower. Frequencies so frequencies go forever. But there's only so much that the human ear can hear. So 20K is the peak. Honestly, like I don't know a lot of people that can really hear up to 20K. Um, but uh, let's say it's like the peak of human hearing. Um, if you wear earbuds, you definitely can't hear 20K because you've been blasting your ears for a very long time. But 20K is the highest pitched frequency you can hear, and 20 dB is or no 20 hertz. Sorry, it goes by hertz. Is the lowest you can hear. So low is your low end, your bass, thing that gets you bopping. Your mids is everything in between. Like the human voice it sits around here. And the high end is honestly it's air. A lot of the times you'll boost the high end to get more breath into what you're doing. So what I would have done, and what I was going to do, was to actually sculpt the frequency a little bit. So the lawnmower sound. Let me see something. Oh, not that. Yeah, no, it crashed. Anyway, so the lawnmower sound, it has a lot of high end. The thing about it is the high end makes it sound small. It's giving it the size. And I don't want it to be the size it is. Lawnmowers are tiny. As you know, lawnmowers are super tiny. So what I'd actually do is pull out another tool before I even started to shape it, which is the pitch shifter. What pitch shifters do is exactly what it says. You can shift the pitch of your sounds. So, for example, let me do something really quick. So the way that you put these things in, by the way, actually matters in every DAW because they're affected after. So if I put the pitch shifter, yeah, it changed. So if I put the pitch shifter on top of my EQ, my EQ curve is going to be different. So like you could see it actively move. Here, I'll make it pretty extreme so you can see what I mean. So semitones are the steps at which they move in sense are smaller than semitones. I'm not explaining that the best, but that's what it is. That's what it does. I normally can leave my cents are more for fine tuning, and semitones are giant strokes. So let's say I take this, and I'm like, all right. So we're gonna look at the frequencies here. You guys, I know you guys can't hear this, but imagine your lawnmower outside or somebody's lawnmowing outside. Well, not outside. Let's say you're outside with them. Well, what I want is the effect of you being inside. So when somebody's speaking through a wall, what tends to happen is the high end frequencies get cut off and the low end frequencies stick around more. And to convey size to this thing, first what I wanted to do was take it and lower it by, let's see. So if you look right here in particular, so I'll boost so you can see what I mean. So I boosted around 262 hertz. So let's say, and you could see it moving. So like when I move when I move up, which is making the sound more higher pitched, you can see the body of this thing move over. And then if I move down, you'll see it move the other way. So what I would actually want is around like 7 semitones. I'm gonna not boost that because that's gonna sound like garbage. And I'm going to take this high pass filter. So, wait, take this low pass filter. Yes. So what a low pass filter does, or a high pass filter, is it allows certain frequencies to pass through and take away others. I might be saying it backwards, but I'm pretty sure the low pass filter is the top one, and the high pass filter is the bottom one. Because a high pass filter lets the lows through, and the low pass filter lets the highs through. Yeah. So I'm gonna take this filter, and what I'm actually gonna do is an extreme cut. You normally don't want to do this, but I'm sound designing, so I can. So you're gonna want to take this. I'm gonna push it up to get rid of most of the high end. So like 1K and up, and the sound that it would be making, if you could hear it, is the sound of it doesn't sound. It's not big yet, but what it's giving it is the characteristic of a large propeller plane. Because they're bigger, there's more air affecting it, so they're making more of a whoosh sound. So I did this, so I lowered the pitch of it, I EQ'd out the high end, so it's less and it's more whoosh. And the last thing I'm gonna want to do to this is put some reverb, like not a whole lot, like not at all a whole lot, but just a little bit to make it bigger. Since you can't hear it, it doesn't really matter. But I'm gonna talk about what a reverb does. So what a reverb does basically is it adds space to whatever you put it on, and it's artificial space. It's like computer generated. So you have your dry and your wet signal. So dry, if you're completely dry, that means there's no reverb. And when you dial up wet, that is when the reverb is going to start to affect the sound. But what I'd want to do is I want a little less dry, and I want my wet like a little high, but not really that high. Honestly, probably way lower, because I don't want to hear the reverb that much. I really just want it to add to the characteristic of the sound. So we're gonna do that, and then after we do that, we have, and this stuff is not this. This is extra to this reverb, because there's like millions of different types of reverbs. This one's the one that I use the most because I like it a lot. But what this does is I can open up the high end, which I don't want to, and I can open up the low end, which I want to a little bit. And the crossover is basically at what frequency these are coming in. So everything before 2K is considered low spread. Everything above it, when I have it here, is considered high end sound. We have size, which is literally what it is. It's how big of the room basically you have, or how big the reverb's gonna be. And then length is how long the reverb's going to last after the initial sound hits. And then delay, which we don't want any, and that's literally when the reverb's going to, it's pre-delay, which is how long it's gonna take for the reverb to kick in. So I added my reverb. Don't copy these settings because they probably sound like trash. And now I have my big propeller. So what I'd do at this point was take it, I'd render it out, go to QLab, and what I do in QLab is I would take my lawnmower, which is, I know this one's not the right one, but it's the one that, like, I didn't render out the other ones. I'd enter the group. Let me get back to where we were. Put it in, take these out, and then start them all simultaneously, because what I like to build is everything all together. Kind of. So what I do, to be honest, is I'd make another group, and for my propellers, I'd put them in that group. So everything's coming together to make this plane. And everything inside of the group for the plane is the aspects of it. So this is a propeller, and this is one of them. So what I'd do is I'd render out, take this one, and if you remember what I said earlier, one of the most important things is making sure your design runs. That was weird. I thought you guys could hear that for a second. Let me just make sure. One of the most important things. Yeah, it's not working. Alright, so one of the most important things you guys can do is to make sure that your sound design runs infinitely. And without. It's called a. They're loops, but the way that the loops work, they're unreadable. Which means I spend a lot of time finding things that in the sound that are pitched the same, so when the loop happens, you can't tell where the sound begins or where it ends, and that it's an infinite loop basically. That's what it creates. So anyway, I hit infinite loop, and bam. So we got our first propeller sound, right? Something I would like to do. So I'd probably take the same sound, copy and paste it, rename this from lawnmower to, I'll just go P1, and this is P2. So this is my second propeller. What I could do for time is actually just use the same sound, but take a different pitch. So one of the things I could do right here is I could pitch up the sound by changing how fast it's playing, like the rate of it, because when you up the rate of a sound, it's taking the sound and squishing it, which makes it read faster. So change the rate. I could preserve pitch, but I don't want to, and I'd find a different area that I could loop, for the second propeller, to throw that in. So then I take the second one, copy and paste that, or make it propeller 3, put that bad boy in there, and then what I do is extend it. I'd pick another place, do the same thing, and I need one more, so you guys understand. So I'll just make it propeller 4. So something I like to do is all these. So like I said, if I hit this top group here, they're all going to play at the same time. I just realized I didn't I copied and pasted. It doesn't matter. Yeah, so they're all gonna loop forever, and let's pretend like I made loops that are seamless, so nobody can tell. So we made our lawnmower into. I'm so sad. We're gonna do this again. Don't worry. But I made my lawnmower into a giant propeller wing that loops forever and nobody can tell. So we got that, which is only one aspect of this thing. What I'd actually do also is, if I went back to logic, this filter that I put up here, what I do, I pull it back, because there's something I need to account for. If you remember what I said in the beginning, I said that everything's taking place in the cockpit of this plane. There are walls between the pilots and the propellers. So what I do is make the talking through a door effect. So when I pull, what I already did was the talking through the door effect. But what I need is the not talking through the door effect. And it was supposed to be a surprise. But what I was going to do Let's also program the Bombay doors opening. And what happens when you open these doors in midair? All this air is rushing in, and all the sounds from the outside that are extremely loud already are going to be amplified, and that high end is going to be reintroduced. Not completely, but a lot of it is, because of the door access to the outside now. So I'd pull it back and I'd render the same sound. So let's say I did that, right? And let's say I did it with all of my prepared planes. I'm gonna copy this, I'm gonna paste it, right? And what I do now, so we got our plane, right? And let's say, and this isn't the complete plane, but this is just the propeller for the plane in this first one. The second one, let's say that this one is the plane after the door opens. Hang on. So let's say this is the propeller after the door opens. So now they're not affected by each other, by the way. You want them to be separate. So that one plays. What I do is actually make a fade. So fade cues are amazing. I haven't done this in a long time. Now I'm realizing I haven't used QLab in a minute because theater's been closed. But what I do is I take my... Is this still playing? Hang on. I don't know what this is all about. Huh. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I don't know. We're just gonna ignore that for now because that might have been what my issue was. Anyway, so this is the plane after the door opens. Well, the propellers, because that's all we're gonna work on for now. We're gonna throw that in. And I lowered the thing. This is annoying. Alright. We're just gonna take this, throw it in the group. These are my propellers, and this is my new plane. Bam. And then, like I said, there's different ways to do things on QLab. Like, there's multiple ways to do it, just like there's multiple ways to sound design. I love start simultaneously. It's just what I do. It's the way my brain works. And it just works super well. So now, what I do is take these fade cues, and I'd actually target. So I take them, drag them in, drag 4 of them, right? So Bombay doors open. So the issue that arises here is, how am I going to take out the old sounds to fade in the new sounds? Because the world doesn't just work like that. I don't just open the door and then immediately old sounds disappear, you know? They become something else. And that's exactly what I'd want to do. So take my fade cues, throw them in, and what I'd actually do, I'm going to stop running this real quick, just in case because I'm vomiting. I think it's starting to vomit because I was running both at the same time. Anyway, so what I do at this point is I'd actually take my fade cues and I'd target the old ones, just like this, with a fade. So then these X's, by the way, that means that the cue's broken and something's wrong with it. I gotta turn the fades on. That I gotta tell it what to do, because you could fade both ways in QLab. So I just gotta make sure I turn them all on. Give me 1 second. So we got the fade 1. Also, I'd also recommend renaming the new ones. So like I'll do P2O or something for outside, because that's what's happening, you know. So you don't get confused, because I'm targeting different cues and new cues. I'm gonna full screen this. Anyway, so what would happen here? So also, like I said, fade cues do exactly what they say. They fade things in and out. So the default when you put them in QLab is an S. I always go cut. Oh, parametric's pretty nice, but I also go custom. And since I'm fading out, what I'd want to do is adjust it to the sounds of my bomb bay doors. I'm not gonna put them in, because when I do this again, we're gonna bust through this really quick so we can keep sound designing this, and hopefully this thing won't be puking on me, so you guys can hear and we can learn if what I did worked or not. Because that's sound. That's just how it works. You gotta test things out. Like I said, you gotta do it. Anyway, so what's gonna happen now? Oh wait, I almost forgot one thing. After the cue, there it is. After your cue executes, so after these fade cues execute, I'm gonna want to stop the original. Even though they're quiet now and nobody's gonna hear them, the way that QLab works is when you put QLab taps directly into your RAM. This is some computer talk. RAM is what allows your computer to operate at the speed at which it does. So if I'm running this top cue and I'm running it, it's going direct to RAM, which makes it quicker. That's why. So you have MP3s files, as you know, and you have waves. MP3 files are compressed wave files. Or compressed any other uncompressed sound file. So what QLab has to do in an instant is uncompress my audio and then play it. I'm pretty sure these are all waves. Yeah, they're all waves, but it doesn't matter because it's still taking up RAM. QLab releases RAM, that's what that buffering is, when you stop the cue. If I don't stop the cue, QLab is never releasing that RAM, right? So the more things I add, and then let's just say I do the whole thing, and I don't stop any of the old cues, I just turn them all down, eventually QLab's going to start freaking out. It could crash. It's probably not going to crash, but what's it going to do? It's going to take your sound, and it's going to try to throw RAM at them, and while still capturing the old stuff. So it's going to start going which is the best sound I could do to explain it. You don't want that. It's terrible. You don't want that. And then you're going to have to escape, stop all the sounds, and then start them again. But that's just something to remember. It's like the warning. Anyway, so now what's going to happen is I play my first thing, you know? Let's say next time I'm going to throw in the Bombay doors when you guys can hear and stuff. And we're going to just quickly go through this again so you guys can hear what I built. Or what you're going to build. So anyway, it goes, Bombay doors are going to open. You hit the new play sound. As you can see, they're all running. Bam. So after these fade cues, after the fade cues execute, they're going to fade down. I have the fade super short just for the example. And they're going to take out the old sound. And now you're in your new environment. I'm not going to go too far today because you can't hear anything. So it's kind of pointless to like go too far. So it's mostly just concepts. But that is QLab for now. I think I'm going to stop for today because I can't continue further because you guys need to hear this stuff. It's just what it is. I'm sorry that you can't. I'll figure it out. I don't know why it's not. It's something with logic. But eventually it's going to work. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to save this. We're going to name it. I actually want it on my desktop. We're going to name it the B50 Super Design. Bam. And that's what we're going to do. And then just in case I didn't explain it, the reason why these two events are different is because I'm thinking in the mind of my operator. I don't have to throw any of these sounds in a group. It's one of the reasons why I love Start Simultaneous, because I can make it. Another job for the sound designer is to make everybody's life easier. If I don't, if this QLab is messy, it can be organized, but if it has a bunch of stuff all over the place, and something happens, I want my operator to be able to fix it, and they can't if it's like that. Also, it's easier to call. So if I have my whole environment in a Start Simultaneous, and let's say I have 100 cues in this plane, like hundreds of groups and stuff, the stage manager doesn't have to call them all, or the QLab operator doesn't have to stand there and rapidly press the button over and over again till all the cues fire, because I can make them all start at the same time. The one thing I would say is a short stagger of all of these sounds will definitely, like by milliseconds, will help the machine operating with the more things you have. So it doesn't have to brick, because it's like, imagine punching a brick wall or something, because that's what it's doing. It's punching before it's adapting. So that is the basics of sound design. I know there's a lot of stuff and a lot of really annoying unorganized stuff. It will be better next time. I apologize for that. But I think that is it for today. I still can't see the chat. I don't know if anyone even said anything. I hope there's not questions. If there is, I will answer them next time. But thanks for watching, and I will speak to you guys next time. So I will see you. Bye, guys. Bye.